Mr. Miller, are you here on Saturday?
On Saturday? No, I'm not here on Saturday. Not this Saturday.
There was something very appealing in this project and a big alignment with our school values and mission, so that it continued exciting students and it continued to grow. It started with a very small, like a personal connection between two educators. This educator, Miss Angie Crouch, she supported the students. She recognized the potential of this project. Students from WAB that were part of the Cultural Canvas project started connecting with students in a school in Uganda, with students in a school in Uganda. And the key connection for WAB on that side was the African traveling teacher, or Mr. Francis.
So I met Francis through a mutual friend, Steve Sostak, who we worked with, actually it was during COVID. He is one of the founders of the organization Inspire Citizens, which is a global citizenship consulting company that works with schools to bring, more global citizenship, community engagement, reciprocal service learning types of experiences into the curriculum. And in talking with Steve, he said, I met this really inspirational educator who's working in South Sudan right now with teachers through a grant project, and I think he'd be a really great connection for you and your students.
So at that time we had an after-school activity, or like an after-school club, an ASA. It was called Art for Enlightenment. I mean, it's still called Art for Enlightenment, but now the focus is on this project. And there was the idea of helping communities and using art as a way of helping the community, but we were not very happy with the idea of selling art for making money, for then selling art again. That whole idea of just making art for like markets was not the focus that I wanted to give to the students. And I think that students as well, the students that were part of that club at that time, were also not very happy with that idea.
We stayed in contact, and in talking with Daniel, his Art for Enlightenment Club was really looking for some way to take some direct action through their art and make some connections through culture, through community engagement. And so I introduced them, and now the rest is history.
So the whole relationship started with the potential idea of sending them computers from China to Africa so that they could start developing digital literacy and that we could communicate with them online. But it turned out that sending a computer from China, or sending a used equipment from China to Uganda, was extremely challenging. And it was actually that complication, it was that obstacle that gave birth to this whole idea of making prints for raising funds so that we could start like a cooperation with them. Without that obstacle, without the obstacle of the limitation of not being able to send something physical from here to there, we would probably have not gotten into this. through the African traveling teacher, they took around 300 pictures. And then they sent all of those pictures to the students. And they could not only see how life looks there from an unbiased perspective, but also react and reinterpret that into an artwork.
When Daniel and I started talking about the steamroller project, and he wanted to bring a steamroller to campus, and he wanted his students in his IB art class to actually really feel the feeling of having their art make some impact for you know, some impact maybe in a different way than just limited to the art exhibition, right?
In this case, the role of art is not only for the students to show how they're feeling about our community, but it's also a way of letting another group of people know that they are being seen, that they are important, and that they're also part of the universe of things that can be represented.
And through that, then that was a huge success. That took about a year for that to happen, for us just to figure out how to get the devices or the technology in the hands of the kids at Norintembe so they could actually have this art exchange. Once that happened, then things really took off.
You know, WAB has a number of values. One of them, it's actually 5 of them. One is being caring, student focused, being connected to the global world, so China global world connectedness, mosaic of diversity, Gonghe spirit. Gonghe spirit means working hard, working together. And this project, in all of its elements actually touches upon all of these values. Another thing that is maybe even more present in our community in terms of students really recognizing it as a guiding principle of WAB is our mission: connect, inspire, challenge, make a difference. And really this project started with a small connection of 2 people, and then, you know, connections among groups of students. With each connection we were getting inspired more and more. We thought together how to overcome all the challenges, and in the end, you know, this project made a difference in both countries. For this particular project, we will try to support it so that it becomes something more global. We have so far done 2 things. We have invited the African traveling teacher to come to our Future of Education Now conference, which happened last March, so in March 2025 in Beijing. And it was a conference that gathered around 700 participants, educators, students, and Mr. Francis managed to connect with some additional schools in Beijing.
I think people really started gaining momentum in their support of the project at that point. Like, people really started seeing, wow, this is a really meaningful reciprocal partnership. It's not just we're raising money to buy tablets, but actually the kids at Norintembe are teaching our students here, our students are learning from them. It's a truly reciprocal exchange of culture and art.
I hope that this project will become bigger than just 2 schools connecting. And now we are actually supporting him also, our Global Citizenship Coordinator, and our art teacher, which we all Mr. Daniel Avila, which were all instrumental in this project, to go to the ECIS conference in Europe, and hopefully with their presentation about how the project started and where it is now will inspire more schools also to start doing something similar.